So you have basketball in your genes. Your grandfather played basketball, your dad, and you have a twin sister who you played basketball with growing up. What was it like growing up in that family dynamic?
Well, we have a super competitive family, and having my dad play basketball collegiately, knew that basketball was going to be put in my hands at an early age. But my parents were, super excited about having us try every sport imaginable. So yeah.
Lexie Hull's WNBA career was all but over, a footnote in a long list of draft busts. But a single tense moment in the Indiana Fever locker room with Caitlyn Clark changed everything. An insider has now revealed what really happened behind the scenes, a shocking secret about the team's culture that explains their dramatic transformation from league laughingstock to feared contender, a secret that was hidden from the cameras until now.
It happened really, really quick. We finish up the Final Four, and then a week later the draft happens, and then a few days after that, packing up my dorm room and moving to the Midwest. So it was a big transition, especially moving someplace that I had.
Before she was fighting for her career, Lexie Hull was a champion. At Stanford, she was a winner, a fierce competitor who helped lead her team to a national title. That's why the Indiana Fever made her the 6th overall pick in the draft, believing her basketball IQ and athleticism would translate seamlessly. But the WNBA is a different beast. The speed, the physicality, and the crushing pressure swallowed her whole. By the start of the 2024 season, Hull was often glued to the bench. Her confidence shattered as she watched her professional dreams slipping away. It messes with your head, she later admitted, to go from being a vital player to an afterthought.
The basketball part of the transition is really tough. Everybody out on the court was one of the best players on their college teams, definitely the best player.
The problem was bigger than just one player. The Indiana Fever organization was trapped in a culture of defeat. For years, they were perennial losers, and a quiet sense of hopelessness had infected the locker room. The team had talent, but they lacked a killer instinct. Losing had become normal, a comfortable and expected outcome. The accountability needed to build a winning program simply wasn't there. It was a cycle of despair that high draft picks alone couldn't fix, creating a tense atmosphere where criticism was rampant and hope was in short supply.
I've seen so much growth, not only on the team side, how we're performing on the court, but also the growth in fans. I mean, on the road, it felt like home games. We're playing in sold-out arenas that we had.
Then Caitlyn Clark arrived. Her entrance wasn't just about selling tickets or getting on TV. It was a culture-destroying event. She walked into that locker room with the weight of the entire sports world on her shoulders and a relentless, almost abrasive will to win that she had honed in the spotlight at Iowa. Her standard of excellence didn't just clash with the Fever's losing mentality, it declared war on it from the very first day. She wasn't just another player, she was a phenomenon ready to change everything.
To be on the court with Caitlyn Clark, and you also struck up a friendship with her. Can you talk about how important it is to have that camaraderie on and off the court?
I think it was important to get to know her off the court, because I do think that, connections, getting to know people really play a part in the success of teams. And it's really awesome to get to know her as well, because she's a great person, but you have all these expectations put on her, and our team has put on her, and fans have put on her. So to see her kind of be so mature in that transition, it's been really awesome. And I'm just really proud to, have her on.
The secret that insiders talk about began in one of the team's first practices together. After a series of lazy turnovers, Clark's notorious intensity boiled over. She reportedly stopped the drill and openly called out several veteran players, not with encouragement, but with raw frustration. Witnesses say the tension was suffocating, as her competitive fire burned through the stale air of complacency. This wasn't the cheerful rookie everyone saw in interviews. This was a competitor who could not tolerate mediocrity, and her unfiltered criticism made many deeply uncomfortable. This unprecedented move put the coaching staff in an impossible position. They had a generational talent who was single-handedly disrupting their established locker room hierarchy. There were private discussions about whether to rein Clark in, to ask her to tone down her demanding nature for the sake of team harmony. But in a massive gamble, they made a secret decision. They would let it play out. They chose to let Clark's fire run its course, hoping it would forge a stronger team, even if it meant risking a full-blown locker room mutiny. While some players recoiled from Clark's confrontational style, Lexie Hull saw something else entirely. She saw a lifeline. In that moment of intense pressure, Hull realized this was her last shot. Instead of backing down, she made the pivotal choice to meet Clark's fire with her own. She started staying late after practice, running drills with Clark, and dedicating herself to matching the relentless pace her new teammate demanded. She began to pour herself into the work, believing that her moment would finally come. Suddenly, the magic everyone was waiting for began to happen on the court. Clark's generational court vision started connecting with Hull's renewed hustle. Clark would whip passes into spaces that didn't seem to exist, perfectly hitting Hull as she cut to the basket. The powerful two-person game was born out of that initial tension, and coaches were stunned by how quickly their chemistry developed. Hull said it herself, Caitlyn changed everything. Her energy, vision, and ability to improve everyone around her was contagious. She made Hull believe in herself again. This newfound connection created a powerful domino effect. The team's other stars like Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell started taking notice. They saw the tangible results of Hull's hustle being rewarded and began to adjust their own play styles. Boston started setting harder screens, knowing Clark could find her on the roll. Mitchell started running the floor with more urgency, anticipating a transition pass. One player stepping up encouraged everyone else to do the same, and the Fever's offense began to transform into a fluid, unpredictable machine. That fire began to spread, forging a completely new team identity. Clark's intensity was infectious, and it forced everyone to raise their game. Practices devolved from casual shoot-arounds into high-stakes battles where every possession mattered. Clark wasn't just leading with her passes, she was dragging the entire organization toward a tougher identity built on accountability and a shared vicious hatred of losing. She made it clear that their goal wasn't just to compete, it was to dominate. However, this rapid ascent brought a new kind of pressure. The media spotlight, once a distant novelty, was now blinding. For Hull, this was a double-edged sword. She had gone from being an anonymous player to someone scrutinized under the microscope of the Caitlyn Clark effect. Every missed shot in defensive laps was analyzed on social media, with criticism pouring into her feeds. It was a difficult new reality, forcing her to develop a mental toughness she never knew she needed just to survive the daily onslaught of opinions. This transformation came at a steep price that fans never saw. In a candid interview, Hull admitted that keeping up with Clark's standard was the hardest thing she's ever done. It meant a complete overhaul of her life. Showing up to the gym hours before anyone else, spending her nights studying film instead of relaxing, and enduring the mental exhaustion that comes from pursuing perfection every single day. Greatness, she learned, was a brutal and lonely road, demanding a sacrifice far beyond what happens on the court. As the Fever started to win, a new threat emerged from the outside. The rest of the league began to resent the attention, and the team's newfound swagger. The physical play against Caitlyn Clark became borderline dangerous, with cheap shots and hard fouls designed to intimidate her and knock her off her game. In response, the Fever's players, led by Hull, formed a protective wall around their star. They were no longer just teammates. They were a unit forged in a battle against the rest of the world. This simmering hostility finally exploded in a game against a veteran-led rival team. An opposing player, known for her aggressive tactics, delivered a flagrant foul on Clark, sending her to the floor. Before anyone else could react, Lexie Hull was in the aggressor's face, a fiery confrontation that nearly cleared both benches. Though she was ejected, the message was sent. An attack on Clark was an attack on all of them. That moment galvanized the Fever and put the entire league on notice. The true secret to Caitlyn Clark's leadership was finally revealed through these trials. It isn't about fiery speeches or motivational quotes. It's a silent, suffocating pressure she puts on everyone around her. It's the piercing stare after a missed assignment, the sharp pass that demands you be in the right spot, and the unspoken expectation that you will give everything you have. It's a demanding leadership style that doesn't ask for followers. It creates them out of necessity and sheer will. For Lexie Hull, this journey was more than a career turnaround. It was a complete rebirth. She went from a player drowning in self-doubt to an essential, unbreakable piece of a rising powerhouse. The grit and confidence that made her a champion at Stanford had returned, but this time it was harder, sharper, and forged in the unrelenting fires of the WNBA. She had not only proven she belonged in the league, but that she could thrive in the most demanding environment imaginable. Ultimately, the Indiana Fever's rise from the ashes wasn't a heartwarming fairy tale. It was a brutal trial by fire, initiated by a rookie who refused to accept anything less than greatness. Lexie Hull's career wasn't just saved, it was completely reforged in the crucible of Clark's competitive inferno. The biggest secret of all is that their path to a future championship isn't being paved with friendship, but with a relentless, painful, and shared commitment to winning at any cost.